here is Venus. Now, this is a heat image, so you can actually thermal image. You can see how hot the surface is just there. It is a lot of that heat is, as I say, trapped into its atmosphere. It has lots of greenhouse gases, including lots of carbon dioxide, meaning all that heat is trapped on the surface, making it super, super hot. The other interesting thing about Venus is that it's spinning in the opposite direction to how Earth spins. We believe very early on in its life it was hit by a large planetary object, which meant that it was actually spinning in the opposite direction. And so, it takes a very long time for it to spin, but it also takes quite a long time for it to go around the sun. However, it's quicker for it to go around the sun than to spin, meaning one day is longer than 1 year on Venus.
Whoa.
Now, we're going to move on to our next planet. Does anybody know the name of the next planet? You might recognise this one. Let's have a look, let's see. I'll show you a picture. Yes, it's Earth, here it is. Now, can you all say Earth? Lovely. Now, the thing is, Earth is an old English word meaning ground or soil, but you can see, obviously, it is covered in lots of water. 70% water is our planet. And our planet has lots and lots of water. Other planets don't have much water at all, but our planet is also very, very special, as I'm sure you know already. It is a Goldilocks planet, so in the Goldilocks section, meaning it's not too hot and not too cold, allowing us to have lots of things that no other planet has. Can anybody tell me some things that our planet has that no other planet has? I ask this all the time and I get some really funny questions, funny answers. So things like pogo sticks is one of the ones that someone said. So anything else that we have that no other planets have? Anyone tell me? Otherwise I will. Oxygen, absolutely. Someone said oxygen, very good. We've got air, oxygen, breathable air. Anything else? Life, absolutely. We have life on our planet. So that is one thing that we don't yet know any other planet does have. And you can see as well, we've got lots of amazing plant life as well, as of course there you can see, and that too. Now, we're going to move further out. We're going to go further. What's the next planet? Does anybody know the name of the next planet? Mars. Very good. Everyone say Mars. Very nice. Here's Mars, just here, is our neighbour. Now, we've been observing Mars for hundreds of years through telescopes, and just so that you can be able to see it in the sky as well. But through telescopes, we started to observe its surface. And on this side just here, it will move around, but I'll just point out on this side just here, you can see this sort of strange long shape across there. We used to think, when we looked through telescopes, that this was perhaps canal systems maybe made by intelligent life. We used to think maybe there was life on Mars and they built this section just here as canal systems. Turns out that they are actually dried up riverbeds, showing that there was at some point liquid water on Mars. That we believe there may be liquid water underneath the surface of Mars, but we don't know that for sure just yet. But that's what we used to think. And so we've been trying to visit Mars for a very, very long time. We've been trying to send lots of things there. It's very hard to land on Mars, and in fact, only half of the missions to land on Mars were successful. And we've been trying to send lots of different things there, lots of different robots, we have rovers, drones, helicopters, lots of different things. And so, Mars is the only planet that is inhabited currently entirely by robots. And I like to think that's quite a fun claim to fame. Now we're going to move further out now. As we move further out into our solar system, we're going to go past an asteroid belt and go beyond the asteroid belt and see some slightly larger planets. When I say slightly, I mean super, super big. We're going to see some giant planets, including some gas giants. We're going to start with this one just here. Does anybody know the name of this gas giant? Someone say it for me, shout it out. Yes, perfect. Jupiter. Everyone say Jupiter. Jupiter is a gas giant. It's super, super big. It takes up, it's twice the mass of all the other planets combined. It is super, super giant. In fact, it won't spin, but on this side just here, you'll be able to see just here, there is a famous star that's been raging for thousands of years, the big red spot, and that is actually bigger than Earth. So keep that in mind, the size of this thing. Also, it takes 1,300 Earths inside. So if it was hollow, 1,300 Earths could fit inside Jupiter. So it's super, super big. We can now move to our next gas giant just here. Now, Saturn, exactly. However, it doesn't really look like Saturn. There's something missing with Saturn. Just here. It's rings, exactly. Now I know this is quite an advanced projector system. Unfortunately, we can't do rings yet. We're trying to work that out. So instead, I've come up with a solution. You can all help me. Can everyone place your hands up in the air and wiggle your fingers, please? You are now the rings of Saturn. Thank you very much. If you can just stick like that there for the rest of the week, that'd be really helpful. Thank you. No, okay. But the thing was, what happens, what we're describing then is all the different particles that make up the rings of Saturn. The rings of Saturn are made up of lots of pieces of ice and rock, and therefore that's why we're describing with our fingers, because it's all that is. It's just bits of rock and ice that have formed those rings. Now, you might think those rings are super big. They are quite wide, however, they're not very thin. It's not very thick. They are actually quite thin. They're 10 meters thick. So very, very thin. And because of its mass and because of the way that it pulls lots of things in, it also has at least 200 moons as well, Saturn. So we're now going to go beyond any planet that we can see with the naked eye. This is the last planet we can see with our naked eye. Beyond that, we have to use telescopes. And so we're going to see the next planet. Does anybody know the name of this one just here? This is Uranus. This is Uranus just here. Uranus is, as I say, it's ice giant now, so we're moving further and further away from the sun, meaning the planets are going to get colder and colder. So this is super cold, this planet. We believe that temperature reaches minus 225 degrees Celsius. So super, super cold. It also is very, very interesting because it's got an axial tilt of about 98 degrees, meaning that it spins on its side. Imagine like a wheel spinning like this. So it spins on its side, orbits in the same direction, but its poles are sometimes pointing towards the sun, sometimes pointing away for a very, very long time, up to about 20 years on either side. Now we're going to move further beyond, and actually our final planet that we count just here. This is Neptune. Absolutely, this is Neptune just here, and it is known as a windy planet. It's supposed to be very, very windy. Winds up to 9 times the fastest wind speed on Earth. 9 times faster than that. So super, super fast. Now, unfortunately, we've reached what we consider the last planet in our solar system. Now, I know there is one more that we used to know about, we may remember or recognise. That starts with a P. Can you tell me? Pluto, exactly. Now, unfortunately, Pluto has been demoted. It's been demoted, and it's been now it is classed as a dwarf planet. Now, the thing is, this is a very advanced system that I have here. It has lots of planets on it, but it doesn't have Pluto. It doesn't even recognise Pluto as a planet on here. Can I get an R? I know, but don't worry, it's not alone. It's not alone because we have actually 4 other dwarf planets, known dwarf planets, within our solar system. So we never know, maybe discover some more, you may have more friends. So unfortunately, the reason why it's been demoted, the reason why it's now a dwarf planet, is because it only ticks 2 of the 3 things that you need to be a planet. So, yes, it orbits around the sun. Tick, it does that. It is roughly a sphere shape. Tick, that's also counted. Unfortunately, the thing it cannot do is and it's the phrase that they use, which is it cannot clear the neighbourhood. Meaning, it doesn't have enough mass to either push things away or pull things in towards it. It doesn't have enough mass, so it's too small, unfortunately, to be considered a planet within our solar system. So, unfortunately, that means we've reached the end of our journey through our solar system, but as you've had such a nice time, I do have one more planet I can show you. Would you like to see one more planet? Yes, one more planet just for funsies. Now, this planet is not within our solar system. This is a planet that we discovered within the Milky Way. We're discovering planets all the time. We call these exoplanets, the planets that are orbiting around a star or a sun. And so we are finding these all the time. We've found over 5,000 exoplanets so far, and we're continuing to find more. The planet that I'm about to show you, it's called Kepler-10b. It was discovered by the Kepler telescope, space telescope. It's a telescope that is in space, that is observing planets beyond our solar system, which is kind of exciting. And I'll show you just here. This is Kepler-10b. This is an artistic representation of Kepler-10b. You'll notice on one side it is very rocky and dark, but then on the other side it is super bright and super hot. We have this side here that has molten lakes and molten seas just across on this side, and on the other side, very, very rocky. Now, the reason why this is like this is because it orbits its own star called Kepler-10. Now, Kepler-10 is a really similar kind of sized star to our Sun, and it is actually orbiting closer than Mercury orbits our sun. So it's very close to that sun. It also is tidally locked, meaning it's always pointing in the same direction. Just like our moon. If you ever notice that our moon, you always see the same pattern on the moon, different shapes, but the same pattern, because it's always pointing towards towards us. So what in one section. So you can see it's always pointing on one side, meaning it's always going to be super hot on one side, but not hot on the other. Perhaps it's quite hot, but not as hot as on the other side, just there. So Kepler-10b, we're discovering more of our planets as we speak, which I think is very exciting, especially as when I do this demonstration, I often do it to lots of young people, and so you never know. As you get older, we'll be discovering more and more planets, which is very, very exciting. And even more exciting right now, just as we did a few weeks ago, Artemis 2. We are now trying to discover the visitors, which I think is incredible.